Hey Shirley, I am sending out some. Oh, I'm sorry, I did not realize I was muted. Hello, Darian. Welcome to you, my friend. Let me get my attendance going here. Yeah, I hope you're both doing well. I hope everybody has had a great week so far. How are you doing, Darian? Doing okay? Trying to get caught up a little bit. How you feeling so far as we approach the end of the term? She is back. Good, good. All right, so Shirley, in case you missed it, because I saw I was muted by mistake, but this will be pretty similar to what you were just saying in first period, and Darian, for you, so you know as well. But let's be largely just kind of you guys getting caught up on everything we need to do. So I'll go over real quick what is due for next Friday, which is again remember the last day of the term. So gotta have everything in by then, and then I'll just give you guys a chance to work on it, get caught up, ask questions on anything if you need. All right. But basically, here is the gist, right? So let me share my screen. All right. Because we may have a little bit of a light crowd today, I imagine. Okay. So everything we're doing is on Summit. I'm just going to go through everything that I'm going to be looking for you to have done to be totally caught up. So some of it may seem familiar, like, oh, I already did this, but just to be thorough, okay? So on Summit, Contemporary Issues is our class. Students in the First Amendment is our project. All right, what is due? Okay, checkpoint one. Checkpoint one, there's three things that you should have done. You should have done the source set, all right, that looks like this, okay, where you are reading through these, right, highlighting any words you don't know, underlining any important details, information, and then answering this question over here on the side. Okay. And Darian, I know I've already talked to you before um, about what to do with this assignment. So if you forget, just let me know. We can chat again. Um, so you have the source set, and then right underneath that, you have the checkpoint task. Right, got to do the source set first to do this one. And then here you're just kind of recapping what are the key facts, right? What were the most important reasons they ruled in favor of Tinker? What were the most important reasons they ruled against Fraser? Again, you'll get all this information from the source set. You're just kind of recapping it here and then just doing a compare contrast down here at the bottom. All right. And again, some of you may have finished this. If so, that's great. I'm just going over it again to be sure. And then once you do those two, you can do the actual checkpoint where you are just answering this question, complete sentences. Okay. That is all the stuff for checkpoint 1. Then you're going to move on to checkpoint 2. All right. And basically the same thing. Checkpoint 2, you have a source set that looks like this. You're kind of doing it the same way. All right. Underlining important details, highlighting any words you don't know, answering these questions on the side. Okay. And this one, obviously, it's a little bit lengthy. If you just do the bottom two here, reasoning and key points, you'll kind of get the gist. So if you don't want to read through the whole thing, you can just look at those two sections. Right. And then you have this last one down here as well. Okay. And then just like before, you're going scrolling down more, finding the checkpoint task. Again, you want to do the source set first because that'll give you the info, right? But you're just kind of focusing on these questions here. So the first one saying, why did the Supreme Court rule in favor of Hazelwood? Or why did the Supreme Court rule in favor of the school in this case if no prior restraint is such a big deal? So based on what you see in the source set, why did the Supreme Court side with the school, do you think, in this case? And this is kind of an opinion question. How might social media postings complicate the doctrine or the law of prior restraint as it relates to students attending school? So does social media count the same way that like newspaper articles do when we talk about prior restraint, or is it a little different? All right. And then down here, you're just filling in this chart, right? So you have two main ideas right here. Yes, the rule against prior restraint does apply to students, okay? And so you're finding some example from the source set that helps to support this main idea that yes, just like it applies to newspapers and magazine articles and whatever, schools can apply, schools can't censor students' posts or texts or anything like that before they come out, or any of their projects. You're finding an example that proves that and then kind of explaining that quote in your own words over here. And then in this box down here, you're saying you're finding an example for the opposite, okay? Like, no, the rule of prior restraint does not apply to students. So where's an example in the source set that shows, no, that rule doesn't apply to students. Schools can censor, they can do whatever because they're still students at the school. And then in your own words, explain what that quote, what that example means. That's what you're doing for this checkpoint task, okay? And then after that, last but not least, again, coming up here, filling out the actual checkpoint where you are, again, answering this question, complete sentences. Does the no prior restraint rule apply to students? Okay. And you'll use all the info you garnered from doing this source set and the checkpoint task. All right. And then once you get, if you're all caught up with all those, let me know. And we can chat about what we're going to do for our final product, which I'm going to introduce to everybody next week because I want to give you guys a chance to get caught up before then. Okay. Since everything is going to be due on Friday. And same as you're just joining us as well, okay? So, and then once you finish the source set and the checkpoint task for checkpoint 2, make sure you submit request feedback on the actual checkpoint itself. And then I'm going to be looking for all 3 for you to be green in that checkpoint, okay? All right. So as of right now, um, I think Shirley and Sammy, you guys are good on checkpoint one. So you're working on the checkpoint two stuff. Darian, if you're still getting caught up on checkpoint one stuff, that is fine. Now is the time to get caught up on any of that. That's kind of the plan for today. All right. So questions on anything? I know I was talking at you a lot. I just wanted to kind of give a quick review of everything that's due. So I want to give you guys a minute here and make sure everybody's on the same page. Everybody understands what's going on. Right? So questions about anything. All right, so if you understand what is due and what you need to be working on, can you give me a thumbs up in the chat right now, please? So that I know everybody is on the same page. Again, if you are good with what you need to get caught up on, what is everything that's due, you know what you need to have done, please give me a thumbs up in the chat so I know. And if not, let me know that as well so I know if we need to do a breakout room, chat one-on-one, whatever it may be. But let me know that in the chat now before I turn you loose to get working on stuff. If I don't hear anything in the chat from you, I'm going to assume you're good to go, no questions. So Shirley, yes, you're good. You know what you need to do. Sammy, you're good. Yes. Let me know in the chat, please, real quick, so that I know everybody's on the same page. All right, Shirley, thank you. All right, Sammy, no worries. So basically, I just went over everything that is due next Friday when grades are due. But I think it's stuff that you have already been working on because you're pretty much caught up. But just make sure everything is done for checkpoint one, which if you're green on Summit means everything is done for that checkpoint. And then all three things for checkpoint two as well: the source set, the checkpoint task, and then the checkpoint itself. Okay. And then on Tuesday next week, I'm going to introduce what our final product is going to be, and then we're going to be working on that the rest of the week next week. We're basically just going to be looking at a social media policy in a school and determine, is this protected under the First Amendment? Is it not? Kind of like that. Okay. So did that help, Sammy, or are you still kind of stumped on what to do? You're good, Sammy. Understand what you need to do now, or no? And I will put it in the chat for everyone as well, just in case. Yeah, sorry, I'm putting it in the chat now as well. Let's do for next Friday. So everything that is due is in the chat right now. They're all in Summit, right? And I'm gonna put this here. Checkpoint 1 equals free speech. Checkpoint 2 is no prior restraint. Okay. So everything is in the chat as well. I'm gonna mute myself and turn it over to you guys to get working on stuff and get caught up. As you have questions, if you have questions, please put them in the chat or give me a shout. And excuse me, I will help you to the best of my ability. All right. Thank you guys. Hey Jazz, good morning. It's basically just kind of like a work/catch-up day today, right? So everything that is due next Friday, not including the final product, which I'm gonna tell you guys about Tuesday, is in the chat. I just put it in there again. You know what? Let me fix that because it might be a little hard to read. But basically, it's just kind of like if you know what you need to work on, be working on that. Everything is in Summit. If you have questions about anything, please let me know. And I can help you out. We can do a breakout room, whatever you need. But if you have no questions and it's just a matter of like getting caught up on the work, then that's kind of just what today is geared around, right? So you're making sure you have all three things done for both checkpoint 1 and 2, the checkpoint itself, the source set, and the checkpoint task. And I see you did request feedback, Jazz. So I will take a look at that right now. But again, to be green, we got to make sure we have all three of those things done for each checkpoint, okay? So just another quick reminder. All right, Jazz. So I just gave you feedback on checkpoint 2, so you can look at that. Marked it as yellow, but don't forget you also got to make sure you have the source set and the checkpoint task done too. So if you don't have those done, make sure you go back and do those. They all got to be done to be totally green. Okay. Questions from anybody else right now? Yes, no, we're good. All right, yeah, well, I will check back in about another 10-15 minutes and see kind of where everybody's at. But as you're working, if you have questions on any of these, please don't be afraid to let me know. Give me a shout. All right. Thank you, guys. All right, Sammy, I just saw your um, question in the chat. Is there something specific you need help about for that source set? Or is it just kind of like how to sift through all of the reading? How can I help you with that source set for checkpoint 2? A little brief on it. All right, no worries. So let me share my screen real quick. All right, so check it out. This works the same way the other source set did. So for each of these boxes, you're doing those 3 things, right? You're highlighting any words you don't know, okay, making them yellow. So let's say, just for example, I would do injunction. So I would go, let me make this my demo notebook real quick. Sorry about that. So I would highlight this, make it yellow. I put in my word bank down here. Okay, good. And then I'm going to go over see what my guiding question is. Why would the Supreme Court be hesitant to restrict a speech or other expression before it happens? All right. And so now I want to find, okay, what's key info details that can help me answer this question? I want to underline those. All right. And if I read, I can see it says prior restraint typically happens in a few ways. It may be a statute or regulation that requires a speaker to acquire a permit or license before speaking. Prior restraint can also be a judicial injunction that prohibits certain speech. Uh, both types of prior restraint are strongly disfavored and with some exceptions generally unconstitutional. So that sounds pretty important. So I can go up here and I can underline that. And then I want to answer this question over here. Why would the Supreme Court be hesitant to restrict a speech or other expression before it happens? So then I come up with my thoughts on that question, put them here. And then I do the same thing for the other sources. Now, this source B is pretty long, okay? So if the reading is tripping you up, you can skip down and just read the reasoning part right here, right? And then just read the key points to remember. Those kind of give you the gist. Everything else is kind of giving you the facts and details. Um, but you can also garner that from this stuff down here, these last 2, reasoning and key points to remember, so you don't have to read the whole thing. And then do the same thing, right? Highlight, underline, answer this question. And then you're doing it again for this third one. Now, again, this one is also a little long. but you might not need this one until you get to the checkpoint task. Right? So if you want to hold off on that one and then go back, that's fine too. All right. But that's pretty much the gist there. Does that help? Do you need more info? Let me know what I can do. Oh, I'm sorry. I was doing all this and I didn't even see your chat. So you're talking about the checkpoint task, not this one. Right? You're talking about this guy, Sammy? Okay, cool. Sorry, I just had to text Miss Christina. All right, so this one, you want to make sure the source set is done first, okay? And then all you're doing is just kind of answering all these questions, all right? So the first question, if the Supreme Court overwhelmingly disapproves of restricting speech or expression before it happens, why did they rule in favor of the school? So you're just answering this question, which is basically asking, you know, if the Supreme Court really doesn't like prior restraint, if they really don't like when people restrict speech, or something that's published or anything before it happens, before it comes out, why did they say the school was allowed to do that in this case? So use what you learned from the source set to answer this question. And the second question is, how might social media postings complicate the doctrine of prior restraint as it relates to student attending school? And this word might trip you up. Doctrine is just like the written law of something. So this question is just asking, how might social media postings complicate the rule or the law of prior restraint as it relates to students attending school? So can we use the same rules of no prior restraint, like you're not allowed to restrict anything before it comes out? Can we apply those same rules to social media posts when students are in school? Or because they're students and they're in school and they have to follow the school rules, can the school censor that kind of stuff? That's what these two questions are asking. Okay. Are you with me so far? Cool. All right. Then the last one here is just kind of you're finding an example and then you're explaining in your own words what that example means. So they have two main idea here, like two main ideas, two stances we could take. We can either say, yes, the rule against prior restraint does apply to students, meaning uh, the school cannot restrict anything a student posts before it comes out, right? And then you want to find a quote from the source set that is it an example of this idea, and in your own words describe over here how that quote does that. With me so far? Make sense? So you're not saying yes or no. They're already providing that for you right here. You're just finding examples that support each one. So that, yeah, they want you to fill in both sides so that you get the kind of whole big picture. So you're finding, okay, where's one example that supports, yes, this no prior restraint rule applies to students. The school can't censor anything they post before it comes out. And then explain the quote over here. And then do the same thing, but this time was an example that says, no, the rule doesn't apply to students. The school's allowed to censor stuff because they have to follow the school policy, whatever it is, and then explain that quote over here, right? And that's how you're filling out this chart. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. All right. So where is the best place to get the information from all this stuff? What should you have done first before you tackle this one that you can find all this info from? The other source set is correct. Good job, my friend. All right. So I'm glad that helped. If you have any other questions, please let me know. All right. The rest of us, we still have Shirley and Jeremy with us. Good. All right. We got about a little less than 10 minutes left. So I'll check in about another 5 and see how everybody's doing. But thank you for asking questions. I will also put up the link to the Summit Lab in the chat so that you have it if you want to visit later today to get some help. I do have some other stuff going on today, so I may or may not be in the lab. If I'm not there, just shoot me an email with your question, and I can try to answer it over the weekend or in the Summit Lab on Monday, whatever works best. Okay. But I will put the link in the chat either way so everybody has it. Okay. All right. Good job. I will check back in about another 5 minutes and wrap up here, folks. Good work. All right, y'all, just another quick check-in here as we wrap up. Don't forget, everything is due next Friday. If you need extra help or you still have questions, please send me an email. Come to the Summit Lab, all right? I may have to jet out of there a little early today, but I will be there all next week from 1 to 3 as you guys try to get caught up, okay? Next Tuesday in class, I will kind of introduce what we're going to do for our final project, and then you'll have the rest of the week to just get everything done. It's not going to be super intense because I know we're trying to get caught up in all our other classes and get everything finished as well. All right. Do you have any questions for me about anything before we leave? Anybody, you can put them in the chat. You can turn on your mic real quick. All right. I want to give you a chance if you do. All right, y'all. Then if not, we are good to go for today. Please don't forget we have our community meeting assembly coming up in 5 minutes. Miss Christina should have sent you a link to your Yes Philly email, so please log into that if you are able. If you are able to attend, we want you to attend. And I hope to see you all there. Be safe. Have a good weekend. Have a good Halloween, a safe Halloween. And great job. And I will see you in a few at the meeting. All right, y'all? Unless nobody has anything else, I'm going to go ahead and end the chat. Okay? All right, y'all. Have a good one. See you in a few.